I'm just going to give you my update from this week in Westminster with Rebecca Pow. Obviously I'm working away for Taunton Deane, representing you at every opportunity. I started off on Monday by inputting into the Nuclear Safeguards Bill though, and that relates to the EU withdrawal bill, and it's to make sure that we have the right checks and balances in place as we leave the EU to keep us safe on the world stage in terms of our nuclear industry. And this is very much about making sure that no nuclear material gets into areas where it shouldn't be used, and I'm convinced that we're taking the right steps on that, something I've spoken on many times, and we're moving forward very successfully with that. In terms of Taunton Deane, I spoke in transport questions to make the point that we need money for infrastructure to make our housing developments work, and I specifically talked about the two developments proposed for Staple Grove in Taunton and that Spine Road we must have going through the development to make it work. We've put a bid in, or the council has, for the Housing Infrastructure Fund, but I was asking if there was any more money available to make this road possible, because of course we're all more accepting of housing if we have the right facilities in place. I also have had a raft of meetings to do with farming and the environment, always representing Taunton Deane, but also talking on a national scale. So I met with the National Farmers Union Environmental Committee, and Mark Pope from the Taunton area chairs that committee, so he came up. And I was talking to farmers very much about future land use and what's going to happen when we leave the EU, and listening to all their views, which obviously I then feed in to DEFRA and Michael Gove and his team, where actually I'm already working as a parliamentary private secretary. I also had a very useful meeting with the World Wide Fund for Nature, who were talking about similar issues, but also that meeting was very much addressing how we're going to handle water in this country going forwards in terms of flood protection, but also in terms of having enough water in times of drought, and in terms of having clean water. And that's where all my interests in soil come in, and I've got a big event on soil next week, because of course soil holds water, helps control flooding, as well as helps us grow healthy food. And just to show you the variety of things that I do, I also sat on the Culture, Media and Sport Select Inquiry into the Football Association and all the allegations being made about the England player Aluko. And as you can imagine, that was fascinating, hit the press, but it does highlight that the FA needs looking into. Certainly its governance does. A lot of questions to be answered, and also if we want women to go successfully through the football system and sport, we do need to get everything right for them. Anyway, now I've got to dash because I'm getting on the train back to Taunton.